Who else do we have there, Seton? What other poll questions are we considering?
We got another one here from the Twitter. Mo threw out,
Okay.
Who needs to win a title? Jason Tatum, Luka Doncic, or Connor McDavid?
Oh.
Yeah. A lot of Connor McDavid coverage today.
Okay.
Yeah. We're going to put up both of those for hour one.
It feels like Jason Tatum more than anybody else. Although when we look at, you're the best player in your sport, Connor McDavid, you should win. I don't know. It always comes down to goaltending. It just, these games are so close. It's 2-1, it's 3-2, it's overtime. Then it's your goaltender. I would say Tatum because he's been there a few times now, whereas Luka got there. I don't know if it's important to him. I don't know if how we look at him, if we go, he got there, you can't be the best player in the sport. It's interesting when I look at trying to assess how this series is going to play out, because I would pick Boston to win because I think Boston has a better team. I think they have a variety of defenders there, and I think it comes down to Kyrie is the X factor. I know that Tatum and Brown are probably going to give you close to 60 points a night. Now, there's always, the case that's problematic for the Celtics, and that is one of the two has an off night, disappears, or has a terrible fourth quarter or overtime. That's happened before. Drew Holiday is going to have his moments. Derek White's going to have his moments there. Porzingis would probably be the X factor here for the Celtics, gives them a little bit of size. How healthy is he going to be? But when I think of Dallas, I think Dallas is not necessarily the sum of its parts because they're top-heavy with Luka and Kyrie, but you're going to need contributions. Can Kyrie be consistent? Can he give you – Luka's going to give you 30, 35 a night. Now, can Kyrie give you a couple of those games where he gets 30 or 25 and 10 assists? Then they can win this series. But it can't be just Luka, and then you're not sure what. If Kyrie is Kyrie of the Cleveland days, then Dallas can win this thing. But I like Boston just because of the balance they have, sort of under the radar here. The fact that Jaylen Brown was the Eastern Conference Finals MVP, I like that as well. Let's just see, if the big moment is not too big for them. That's what it's always been, where you're like, what is going on here? Dribbling the ball off your feet, missing shots, no-show in an overtime or fourth quarter. But Boston is favored, and I'm not surprised by that. Favored by 6.5 in game one. Got to steal one, though. Got to get one. This is the one, Dallas. If you get it, now you have house money for game two. Now you got a chance. You got to put pressure on Boston. We've seen what happens when they have pressure. Teams go through the regular season. We've seen this before where you're like, man, they just blitzed right through the season. Then they get to a tense moment. I always go back to UNLV. When UNLV in the 90s, they were blowing out everybody. And I kept thinking, if they get to a moment in the March Madness, are they going to be able to be ready for that moment? And we thought, well, maybe they won't be in a close game. Well, then they got into a close game, and they couldn't even get a shot off. They had a play that was poorly designed. They couldn't even get the shot off in time. I go back to Seattle Mariners. Seattle Mariners were unbelievable. Won more games than any other team in the regular season. And I kept thinking, if you get into a tight game, a must-win situation, do you have that pitcher? And they didn't. They had a really good pitching staff, unbelievable lineup. They got into a tense moment. You get into the tense moment, that's when you decide that guy's ready for the moment or he's not. James Worthy is going to be on with us later today. And if you go back when the Celtics lost at home to Magic, Magic had the sky hook in the Garden. Well, Boston had one more play. They had time for one more play. They call a timeout. And they draw up a play that Larry Bird is going to shoot from the corner. Well, James Worthy's job, his only job, was to make sure Larry Bird did not get the ball, to make sure that he didn't lose sight of Larry Bird. He loses sight of Larry Bird. And I can bring it up to James because Larry didn't hit the shot. I'll bet you out of every shot that Larry Bird took and made. That shot is the one that still haunts him because he had a wide open shot. Yes, Marv.
Watching the shot, it is on line.
Yes.
Back iron.
So Boston had their guy, had their play, had his shot in the Garden, not able to hit it. But you get those moments, those guys who want those plays. You get that shot. But James loses sight of Larry. And he jokes about it now. He's like, how do you lose sight of Larry Bird? But he did. But that's the moment. That's the kind of things that are created when you get to play for a championship that stand out forever. All the plays that Larry made or James Worthy made, sometimes it's a play that somebody didn't make and how it might define them, at least in the moment.